welcome to Stick to Sports, the podcast. I'm your host, Millsy. Co-host today, we're joined by Nick Baez. Nick, how you doing today?
I'm good. I'm glad to be here.
What's Gucci, though?
Nothing, man. You know, same old.
Living the dream.
Living my life, just doing what I got to do to get by, you know.
That's it. The Puerto Rican Hank Moody. You'll learn that name soon.
Yeah.
Well, actually, first we're going to start it off with big news that came out today. We'll let you take this one first. Major League Baseball Hall of Fame voting today. And who was it that got in today?
That's right. Shout out to Mariano Rivera. Shout out to my, as a Mets fan, you know, I always loved Mariano Rivera. I got to quit schooling when I was younger. I was in the, you remember Frozen Ropes? You remember
Yeah, I remember Frozen Ropes, yep.
I did Frozen Ropes. I forget how old I was. I was young, but I was like a pitcher, literally, like young. Before I moved upstate and I got whacked. But I was I was in Frozen Ropes and Mariano Rivera was there and he signed the glove for me. And I didn't realize how valuable that glove would be. And I actually went and I used that glove in the field when I was playing.
Oh my God. You gotta be kidding me.
No, I've never seen it again. I haven't seen it since.
Oh my God, lost a signed Mariano Rivera glove.
Isn't that something? It'll be worth now.
Oh, that's like Derek Jeter.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Like forensic analysis traces it right back to him and shit.
I never knew that. I never knew that. First of all, I never knew that you did Frozen Ropes. Second of all, I never knew that you got an autograph from Mariano Rivera and then lost it.
Yeah, I was a nasty pitcher when I was in Little League. I could aim it. I had great precision. I just had no speed and I had no pitches. I would just throw it like around the plate, and I had no idea of like plate IQ and shit. You know, like where to aim it, inside, outside. I was just told it, but I could put it where I wanted.
So you're like Bartolo Colon?
No, I was in shape. Yeah, I was in shape. I was Bartolo Colon my next go round when I moved to Circus when I played there. Something like that. It was Bartolo Colon. I was batting those Bears and Bartolo Colon there.
Well, the big thing with Mariano getting in though is, everybody knew he was he was a Hall of Famer. But
unanimously, though.
That was it. The first ever unanimous first ballot Hall of Famer. I think it's the perfect player to get that award too. I mean, when he came in, it was like I was game over. I mean, it was like I don't know if there's been a player as dominant as he has been that we've seen. I mean,
no, his level of dominance is like to when Tyson first came out, but he sustained it for a whole career. He's like Mayweather. Yeah, in boxing, I'm comparing it to a boxing.
Well, yeah, no, because he you know, how dominant he was.
In any sport, yeah, how dominant he was.
And
any sport, basketball.
And he threw 2 pitches. Or 1 pitch. What was it, 1 or 2 pitches?
1 or 2 pitches. Check that out. I could have been him if I just stuck with it. I only threw a fastball. But he had what do you have, a sinker, right?
No, he had
the cutter.
The cutter, that's it, the cutter. I was thinking the splitter, but yeah, it was the cutter.
Tear the bat in half and shit. How many bats did he break? He probably has the most broken bats in history.
I was just going to say, he's probably got a record for the most broken bats, too.
Yeah.
Mariano was the shit. I'm glad that he got in. Mike Mussina got in as well.
I was surprised by that, Michael Stan.
I think it was deserved. I don't have any of his numbers off the top of my head, but
me neither. That's why I'm surprised that he got into the.
He was one of those borderline players that a lot of people wondered about.
Numbers off the top of that.
Well, what was he never? Did he win the championship with the Yankees finally, or he never won?
I don't know. I forget. I should have looked that up. I'm sorry.
That was the big thing with him. Well, I wasn't even going to mention Mussina, but I remember, you know, Mariano got in, made me think of the Yankees.
2019?
That's why I can't remember. I mean, I know his most dominant days were when he was in Baltimore. That's when he was
That's right. That's right. That's
lights
right.
out.
What do you think he goes in the Hall of Fame at? The Yankees?
That's why I'm wondering if he won a championship with the Yankees. If he won a championship with the Yankees, he's got to go in as a Yankee.
He made his bones with the Yankees. I mean, not his whatever. I mean, he got into the Hall of Fame as a Yankee public.
He made his name as an Oriole, but he became Moose with the Yankees. We'll transition a bit.
Yeah, congratulations. The Roy Halladay got in. So,
yeah, that was well deserved. It's a shame he couldn't be here, but it still was definitely well deserved. Roy Halladay was a G.
A shame he couldn't be here, like on the show.
No, here, like Roy Halladay died.
Yeah, I mean, when?
You didn't know Roy Halladay died? Yeah, it was like a year or two ago.
No, I had no idea.
Yeah, I think it was I want to say a car accident.
Damn.
But yeah, he passed away. That's why him getting in was a little special. I mean, obviously you would have liked him to be alive, so he could have accepted it and actually got to enjoy being in. But people will never forget him. Hall of Fame or not, he was never going to be forgotten. But this just kind of etches his place in history.
Yeah, now he's immortal.
Exactly, he's immortal now. Exactly. But we'll transition a bit from baseball to NFL. Well, I should say the highly controversial NFL.
Oh, man.
Well, first, let me get your thoughts on it. I mean, I'm assuming you thought it was a penalty. I think anybody with eyes can admit that was a penalty, but what do you think of the outcome? What do you think of the way that the game played out? What do you think of the whole situation?
That would have been a penalty on the playground. That would have been a penalty in jail.
That would have been a penalty in jail.
That's how bad that was. I was sitting here watching with my girlfriend. I looked at her and I asked her, "What do you think?" And she right off the bat, "What the fuck?"
Yeah, no, that was terrible. I mean, that was like.
And it was a 2020 game too. What was crazy? And it was Tommy Lee Lewis was he was in a position to make the catch, but Roman Colby, whatever his name was, he could have intercepted the ball too. That's why it was so blatant. It was just like a blatant, and you could see him look around after he hit him. You could see him look around, like, oh shit, looking for a flag, but he never got it.
Oh, well, they asked him after the game, they said, was that play pass interference? And I think he said something like, hell yeah, or absolutely, or something like that. So, he might have been beat on the play or tricked on the play, and that was his only way to stop a potential touchdown. So he did it on purpose. I mean, that's...
That's what I'm saying. I thought that, it's the playoffs, so I'm thinking maybe he just did that because, fuck it, this is it's the playoffs. It was 2020. So it's like, you got to stop him in one way or another, and he was probably hoping it went his way. And I think he said too, he was like, I got a break, and I had tweeted out the other day, he kind of just got a break, and they took the opportunity, so.
I've seen a lot of people talking about, well, the Saints got the ball back in overtime, and, the Saints still had a chance to win, and they still... I understand that, but I haven't said this to anybody because I understand how it comes off, but I wonder if the people saying that have actually played sports before, because there's a thing in sports that when it's gone, it's very hard to get back, and that's called momentum. That play took all wind out of the sails. It took all momentum away from New Orleans.
Brought them back to that Viking game.
That's it. I mean, the thing is they were set up. They were set up for first and goal. The Rams had one timeout or no timeouts left, enough that the Saints could have taken it down to about kicked the field goal with about 12 seconds left. So that play wasn't that play literally cost them the game. And I hear a lot of people also referring to a delay a game call on the Saints from the second quarter that wasn't called when the Saints were in the red zone that led to a touchdown. There was a face mask on the play before with Jared Goff.
Yeah, you start nitpicking now and shit.
Exactly. And I'm thinking about it, I'm like, you're fucking stupid. Like, there's no other way to put it. Like, those kind of shit happens throughout the game. But when this call happens that literally it decided the fucking game. It decided the game. It's that simple. It decided the game because...
No, that hit was a fucking blatant foul. There was no question about that. Everybody was waiting for the rest. I thought my sound went off. I thought my TV broke. I was, what the fuck? What's going on? I saw the player. I saw Kobe looking around like, what's good? Where's the yellow? I didn't see any.
And that's the Rams even thought, fucking Joyner thought it was a fucking foul, or whoever it was that was covering him. He turned around looking for the flag, like you had said. Sean Payton started going berserk right away. I mean, everybody in that arena, everybody in America, everybody that was watching that game knew that was a penalty. So when you have something that blatant and you don't call it, the mindset and like I said with the momentum, it completely changes. They lost all momentum. When you lose momentum, and then you don't just lose it and then it's gone. Well, that was the other thing. There was 2 penalties on it. The NFL admitted there was 2 penalties that weren't called: helmet to helmet, or hitting high or defenseless receiver, and the pass interference. Now nobody's mentioned the no call of the hit to the helmet, which that's fine. Those get missed, but pass interference calls that are that blatant don't get missed. And the fact that it was in that crucial of a game, the NFL has a headache for good reason, and because that was a penalty that needs to be called. And going back to
the NFL is on it. This is risk, man.
It feels like it. But, I mean, going back to the momentum thing.
Versus the new gun.
In boxing, I'll give it to you. In boxing, there's momentum in boxing. When one fighter's beating it. For example, we'll jump to Pacquiao Broner real quick, just to mention. Pacquiao had the momentum in that fight. Broner had no momentum. The crowd was behind Pacquiao. Pacquiao was feeling it. He was landing combinations. He was landing the body. He had the momentum in that fight.
I know what you said, but the momentum here was taken right when that call wasn't made, because that really did change the momentum, the whole outlook of the game.
Exactly, because
7 that they would have gotten,
and that
would have been behind 7, more pressure to them, they would have folded like the little pitcher that they are.
Well, the momentum doesn't just go away from the Saints and then just sit in the middle ground. The momentum shifts. That momentum then leaves the Saints and goes to the Rams. So the Rams are now, okay, we're still in this game. There's a minute 20 left or 47 seconds left. All we need is a field goal, and we're going to overtime. We just got a break. It's just, I mean, it brings us into the next topic of, should the NFL change the challenge rules to allow challenging of pass interference? Now, when I say that, offensive or defensive, either way. You can challenge offensive pass interference or you can challenge defensive pass interference. But should that be a challengeable play? Because the rules are pretty cut and dry when it comes to defensive pass interference. So is that something that should be challenged?
Should be, but they got to start chopping it up a little bit the whole game, because this shit with it's too slow. And there's so many timeouts as it is. That's another timeout. Like, come on.
No, I agree.
You get 2 or 3 of them, and then like, I don't know. What do you think?
It's tough because, like you said, the game is slowed down so much, and almost everything's reviewed. The amount of timeouts, you see a kickoff, and then it's after the kickoff we're going to another timeout. There's a punt, there's a timeout, and it's just, do you want to make games longer? But at the same time, do you want to get the right outcome? Do you want to make sure you get the calls right? Because human error is part of the game.
I think in the playoffs, at least. In the playoffs.
That was that was exactly what my solution was in the playoffs. A team, or no, I'm sorry, it wasn't. It was in the final quarter of a game. It's challengeable. So you can challenge in the fourth quarter. You could challenge a pass interference call. I kind of like that playoff idea a little better, though.
It should be a little different. But everything playoffs and everything is allowed to be amended and be a little different. Anything that, like, if you're watching a regular season game in the fourth quarter and somebody runs onto the field and disrupts the game, it's funny, and you're like, oh shit. But if you're watching it during the playoffs and somebody does that, you're gonna be pissed off. That right there should tell you that the emotion, everything is different. Everything needs to be outplayed in the playoffs. You need to make it bloodier and more violent. You need to take rules away. You should take pads away from some of these guys.
Take helmets away? Fuck it, we'll just turn it into rugby.
I think the kickers should lose their helmets. Put them in some kind of danger, these motherfuckers. Yo, the kickers go like, yo, every game comes down, they playoffs is a kickers showcase. You guys are locked in or they're like military. Remember he was a hero?
Mm-hmm.
Now he looks like, he's like Wolverine, right? Or like that old Wolverine.
Oh, he's got the all white beard too. He like dyed it for all white or some shit.
Yeah, probably like that. Nah, he looks mad cool. I like seeing him on the sideline. He looks like a creative player, man. When you make your guy with the all white hair.
Yeah, you make the really old dude who's a rookie.
Yeah. You make him nasty, 99 all across the board, baby. Let's go. You couldn't do 99 until Devin Hester, remember?
Yeah, no, you couldn't do 100.
No, you couldn't do 100, that's right. And then Chris Johnson.
But then, I don't really know if there's really no easy solution for change. There's no. I kind of like the idea of changing it in the playoffs. You can challenge it. A team gets one extra challenge per game, and that challenge is for. It's a pass interference challenge. It can only be used for pass interference. That, or you have these people, these fucking whatever they are, these referees or New York that we hear of all the time. Well, they're watching it in New York. Then if there's a play like that, why can't they just fucking buzz in to the referees and say, no, that was a penalty, you need to call it. Even if it comes in 30 seconds late and the refs have to stop the game for 30 seconds or 45 seconds, but New York buzzes them and then they can throw the flag, they get the call right. It may not be the immediate call on the field, but they get the call right. And that I think is the most important thing, especially when you're talking about the playoffs.
Yeah. And why do they have to watch it in New York? Why don't they just watch it?
Well, because it's the replay center.
They're not watching in New York. There's somebody watching it like we are.
No, well, it's a replay center. They have all the different angles of it. They have it like that.
Where in New York? Where is it in New York that they have this?
I have no idea where in New York. Because when they refer to it in the games, all they say is, well, New York, the replay center in New York. I'm assuming New York City. But...
No, I don't believe any of this.
Okay. Well, should the NFL change the overtime rules?
Can we just talk about the fact that Tom Brady is back into the Super Bowl and that he is the greatest quarterback of all time?
We'll get there when we talk about the Super Bowl matchup. But next up is should the NFL change the overtime rules? I saw a lot of people complaining about overtime and how the overtime rules aren't fair. It should be a whole extra quarter, or if a team scores first, there's nothing. Overtime wasn't the problem in any of these games. The overtime rules had nothing to do with the referees blowing a call. Yes, the Saints had a chance and they threw the interception.
5 minute quarter in that shit, or some shit, because that toss the coin shit is bogus.
Yeah, but you need to have somebody to start with the ball.
That's why I don't blame it on. Pass interference, because the Saints had a chance and he threw an interception.
We just talked about momentum. We just talked about it and how the momentum was gone at that point. So if you go and you make a call that big, the Saints had no momentum. The referees were the reason the Saints didn't have the momentum. If the referees did their job correctly, that game's over and the Saints, who should have won.
Yeah.
So I understand they had the ball in overtime, but like we had said, there's no wind in their sails. They don't have the momentum the Rams do. I'm not saying that's the sole reason why the Saints threw the interception, but when you go out and you get screwed over that drastically, your mindset is off. You're like, what just happened? You're kind of in a state of shock, trying to figure out how you got to overtime to begin with.
Yeah, like what's good?
So
It's over.
I don't think that they really did have a fair shot with overtime because of the mentality that was caused by the referees. It all goes back to that missed call. But the overtime.
They should have. There has to be a better way to get both teams a fair shake. Just make it a short quarter. Just make it a 5-minute quarter, like when you're trying to go somewhere and get a quick Madden game in real quick. So let's do 5-minute quarter, speed up the clock. Why don't we just do that?
Because a 5-minute quarter, that's like not even a drive for one team. I mean,
or 15-minute quarter to speed up the clock.
Well, that's what it is. It's a 50. I mean, I don't think they. I don't see the issues with overtime rules as they are. I don't. I mean, both teams have a chance to get the ball. If stop. It's as simple as stop the other team with the ball. If you want to get the ball, stop them. You know what I mean? Like it's a pretty simple concept. If you hold them to a field goal, your offense gets a shot. If you give up a touchdown, the game's over. I mean, I don't see any problems with that.
No, I agree. It's definitely. I really don't agree with anything you're saying, to be honest, because I don't like the idea of the coin toss.
So then, how do you decide who gets the ball? Like, what's the solution to changing who gets the ball first?
Who was leading at the end of the 4 quarters?
Well, that's why it's going to overtime. It's tied.
Got him. Yo, no. I just don't like the fact that if you score a touchdown, the game's over, and if you hit a field goal, the other team gets a chance. The other team gets a chance no matter what. Just keep going like that.
So just play a whole quarter?
Yeah. Like if you hit if I hit a field goal and then you score a touchdown, well, you just scored, so I just come back and I got to score a touchdown and go ahead of you. So then I go ahead of you, and then you have to score a touchdown and go ahead of me. Somebody has to be ahead by the end of the series. Yeah,
but that's the point of it. They had the chance to score the touchdown, and they didn't. They scored a field goal. Like it was a fair shot for both teams. They both had a possession to score. Now, if you give up a touchdown on your possession in overtime, you should have played better defense.
Like, yeah, should have, could have, would have. That's what I mean. It is what it is. Like, you can't even look at it. I don't like those questions like, oh, well, it would have been down to this, and it would have been down to that. Well, it wasn't. You know what I'm saying? If a horse was a goat, then the horse would be a goat, but it's not. You know what I'm saying?
I just hate that when the players on the field aren't deciding the games, and that's the biggest thing. Like I understand human error is part of the game. It's part of baseball. It's part of basketball. It's part of football. I get that, and that's why those missed face masks. I don't make such a big deal over a missed face mask or a miss. The clock hit 0 as they were about to snap it. I mean, that's gonna happen. It's human error, like I had said. But when it's a blatant call, when it's a blatant, or it's that late in the game where it's literally if New England gets that penalty, if New Orleans gets that penalty called, that game is over. The Rams couldn't stop the clock, and then they couldn't. It's not fair that the Rams even had a chance because the refs didn't do their job. That's what I mean by let the players decide it on the field. When you have, instead of having the refs make their impact.
No, I agree with everything you just said, because it's nonsense. It's got to change. Because the NFL is going downhill with this nonsense. People are getting sick of it. The public is getting sick of it. Nobody wants to watch this bullshit anymore because it's just not the same football that we're used to.
Well, we've been texting throughout the season, and look at some of these penalties where we'll message each other and say, where was the penalty, or how is that roughing the passer? Like, some of the stuff now is just, it's hard to call it football anymore. It's hard to consider it.
What would you call it if you couldn't call it football?
Well, I don't know. It might as well just make it, flag football. Instead of tackle, make it flag.
I'd rather watch TV football. They don't talk as much about trying to bend anything to players.
No, and you don't have the same stupid calls that you have in a lot of these other leagues. And you hit somebody too hard. And how about the players taking responsibility for themselves? I mean, you're taught as a kid to keep your head on a swivel.
The players know what's good. They know what they're getting into. There's no secrets.
Yeah, that's true. That's a good point. A lot of them do. A lot of them will say it like, no, I understand the risk I'm taking playing football.
1,000%.
It's just,
they don't know. They don't understand the risk. That's what they're trained to do. That's what police take a risk every day. Firefighters take a risk every day. People take risks. The higher risk you take, the more money you make.
That's it. I mean,
no, it should be that way, because then the cops will make a lot, but then that would mess up the, like, eco-socio system, whatever I would call a system, you know, the cops are rich and we won't go, and it would mess up the whole system, so you can't pay them that much, like the whole squad. But in that sense, you know, pay the athletes a lot, putting the bodies on the line and the entertainment, that's two different things. That's like WWE.
They're also making these companies, I mean, these teams in the NFL, they're making them so much money too.
Yeah, exactly. I don't subscribe to that too much. I don't really care. Well, you're right. They are making a lot of people a lot of money, but they're getting paid a lot of money.
Well, put it to you this way: the fans don't go to the games to watch the owner. The fans go to the game to watch the players.
Agreed. Agree with that. You think college athletes should get paid?
I do, but that's literally an entire podcast in its own, because that is such a complex, and it goes so deep, because then you start saying, oh well, okay, well they already do get paid with their scholarships, and so it's like going down that rabbit hole. This shit'll be 2 hours, and I want to talk about our boy Tom Brady, the GOAT, the greatest to ever play the game,
the greatest ever do it.
Man, who's
he had a great game against the Chiefs. He went 30 for 46, 65% completion rating. He had a 77 QB rating, I think it was.
Yeah, the one interception. There could have been another one, but the one that was off Edelman's hands. He threw, or actually he threw two interceptions. One in the red zone, one that went off Edelman's hands.
Two interceptions, one touchdown. Yeah. 348 yards. No, this guy is a fucking... You know what? It was cool. It was nice. I know we're going to talk about Pacquiao in a bit, but to see Pacquiao and Brady still holding it down.
Hell yeah.
You guys from my childhood still holding it down. Like...
Big time, too.
Tom Brady's numbers this season, under 60, you know... Well, he's never had a season with a completion percentage under 60%. But this season he had 4,000 plus yards, 29 touchdowns he had, 11 interceptions. So, I mean, this guy's playing lights out still. Shout out to the laser in his eye. You see that story?
No.
There's a story going around that they had a laser in his eye. Somebody was pointing a laser into his eye.
Oh, yeah, I did see that. The NFL was going to investigate it or something. Somebody was using a laser pointer. That's right.
That's wild, man.
And hey, think about that. What was he, 30 of 43?
30, he was 30 of 46.
30 of 46. So think about that. He threw the ball 46 times, only had 16 incompletions.
Completion rate.
And had a laser pointer in his eye.
And he had a motherfucking laser pointer in his eye. And they're going to investigate that.
That's some shit. And where's all the people who are sitting here saying that, oh, the Patriots cheat, this and that? Yes, the Patriots have been caught, but every single team does it. The Saints got caught with the bounty gate shit. Now you go to Kansas City, somebody's putting a fucking laser pointer in his eye. How do you know that wasn't somebody put there by the Chiefs that said, hey, or have a couple people that said, hey, do this, you know, the Chiefs paid for them and put them there and said, hey, do this throughout the game. How do you know that wasn't a ploy?
Yeah, and the NFL talking about investigating that, like they need to get the priorities straight out there in the NFL.
Yeah.
Talk about investigating the laser. How are you going to find who pointed the laser? I pointed the laser.
So what are you going to do, go back, watch the entire game film and
you're going to watch the guy with the laser?
Watch the entire fucking stands trying to see somebody who's obviously hiding the shit. Probably, if you're watching the video, they're probably doing it like this so you couldn't see the shit anyway.
And and usually by the time you see that laser, it's too late. So, thank God nothing happened to the greatest of all time, Tom Brady. I can't believe he got 5 rings. He's going for number 6. He's going to be the Michael Jordan of the NFL. What? Or he's going to be the Tom Brady of the NFL? Let me think. Tom Brady of the NFL.
And Tom Brady's got that hot-ass wife, Giselle, too.
Yo, remember there was other quarterbacks in the era? There was this guy named Peyton Manning that used to think he could challenge Tom Brady. Tom Brady pushed him to the side. It was... Well, Philip Rivers not going to challenge.
Well, I will say that
Shout out to Eli Manning.
the last 3 times Tom Brady faced off with Peyton beat him in those last 3 matchups. That was the only person that I think he has a losing record against.
Shout out Peyton Manning, greatest of all time.
Nah.
Shout out Cooper Manning.
Shout out Cooper Manning, the best Manning of all.
Yeah, he's a funny dude. They're all funny though. You ever see those?
Yeah.
Shout out Archie Manning.
Yo, did you see the Saturday Night Live skit with Peyton, where it's like he's working with the kids after school and he's like teaching them how to throw football, but it's like he's teaching them how to break into cars and shit.
Oh yeah. Funny shit, man. That's some funny dudes.
And Eli's supposedly hilarious. So like
Eli's supposed to be funny guy, funny Eli. But yo, let's talk Eli for a second. I know we got other things to talk about, but real quick, if I can just give a shout out to Eli Manning, one of the greatest ever do it. Happy to see him. I'm telling his career, leading a bunch of solid rookies. The Giants are looking good for the next few seasons. They got a lot of great talent on that team. They got some generational talent on that team, and I'm happy to see Eli being able to lead like the leader that he's been this next generation, and I'm happy to see his last season, next season when he retires.
Yeah, shout out Eli, leading the Giants to a, 5-11 record.
What?
I said, yeah, shout out to Eli, who led the Giants to, a 5-11 record?
Oh, you can't put on Eli.
No, I know. I've talked about the Giants all year long, and Eli wasn't the problem.
No, Eli wasn't the problem.
I mean, Eli didn't necessarily help his own cause, but he wasn't the issue why the Giants were as bad as they were. It was not Eli Manning's fault.
It wasn't Eli Manning's fault.
You didn't have Saquon Barkley carry the ball for more than 20 times in a game up until like week 10 or week 12 was the first time he got more than 20 carries in a game. So like that coaching staff, and then they're sitting Odell. They're not using Odell. I'm not getting into the Giants because it's aggravating. Let's get some Super Bowl predictions.
Yeah, let's go back. Let's go back to Tom Brady. You know, shout out to Tom Brady, and then just thanks for being you. And, I'm hoping for a great Super Bowl. The Rams are going to be good. We ain't talking much about the Rams, but Gurley, Cooks, Woods, Goff, let's rock. Let's fucking do it. Let's get it. Atlanta. Let's get it going. Let's not stop. Let's get this party rocked in. Motherfucking Super Bowl, baby. Rematch. Let's get it.
Ain't no rematch, my G.
Full circle.
It ain't no rematch, but it is going to be a hell of a game. Hopefully Todd Gurley gets healthy so the Rams can actually fucking use him, because I'm sick of watching C.J. Anderson plodding around out there, fucking picking up 5-6 yards at a time, fucking tripping over himself and shit. I didn't understand why the Rams, Gurley looked healthy. He looked okay. He's played more the last 2 weeks than he did this week. I didn't understand that.
I played more than Gurley last week.
I mean, he did get the touchdown, but he did have a crucial drop on a third down. But yeah, Cooks. Shout out Brandon Cooks and shout out Julian Edelman. Brandon Cooks first.
Shout out Julian Edelman for holding it down.
Brandon Cooks had his 5th or 6th straight 100-yard or 1,000-yard receiving season this year. 1,000 receiving yards in the season. Shout out Brandon Cooks. I had him as my 15th ranked overall fantasy wide receiver this year. I think he was finished at 17th or something like that. He got the last laugh against the Saints after the Saints traded him. Now he's going to the Super Bowl. Shout out Brandon Cooks. Shout out Julian Edelman.
I want to shout out Sonny Michel for holding it down in the running back position for the Patriots. You know, I see you doing your thing, baby boy. Give me a call. Let me know how you're doing. We haven't spoken in a while. I don't know why. We used to talk all the time, but then I know you've been busy. So, anyway, when you hear this, hit me back.
I think talk about the matchup a little bit. I think for the Patriots, they're going to have to do a lot of follow a lot of last week's game plan in terms of running the ball. But for me, I think they have to get James White more involved. The wild card or the divisional round against the Chargers, he had 14 catches for 98 yards. This past week, he was used sparingly. Rex Burkhead was used almost as much as James White. James White is far superior to Rex Burkhead in the passing game. James White.
Rex Burkhead did all right.
He was okay. He wasn't bad, but he's not as explosive as James White is. He's not as quick as James White is. He doesn't have the vision James White has. James White is a top three to five pass catching back in the NFL, hands down. Patriots are going to need him against the Rams. I love the Patriots, the way they match up with the Rams, because the Patriots are a short passing game team. They're not going to try to beat you down the field with 30-yard bombs. They're going to hit Julian Edelman across the middle. They're going to hit their running backs out of the backfield. They rely on Tom Brady's accuracy, and I think that's going to give the Rams problems because the Rams aren't going to be able to rely on their pass rush. They're not going to be able to rely on that, that pressure up the middle or the pressure outside. The best way to stop that is by running the ball and short passing, and running the ball and short passing is the Patriots' strengths. So I think this is it's strengths against strengths in this matchup. So I'm actually really looking forward to this Super Bowl. If I had to pick who's going to win, I'm not going against the Patriots. I'm not going against Tom Brady. Plus, they were here last year and lost to the Eagles. You know damn well that Brady and Belichick that's in the back of their minds, and that shit ain't happening again this year.
Ain't happening again. I gotta go with you. I'm going with the Patriots, baby. Let's rock. Let's get it. Let's murder these fucking Rams, baby. Let's go hunting. We going eating. And we getting this shit. Them the strip motherfuckers we back.
Yeah, I like the.
You saw his Instagram. He put up the we back thing.
Yeah.
No, it was like this. We ain't going.
Yeah, him and Gronk.
Going nowhere. We can't be stopped now. It's bad boys for life.
Yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to this Super Bowl. I think it's going to be. I think it's going to end up being a great game. Like I said, I'm going to take the Patriots. Very early prediction. I'm going with the Pats. I can't go against Tom Brady. But we're going to transition from the NFL now to the NBA. The Boogie is back. The Boogie is back. Demarcus Cousins.
Let's get it.
Welcome back. Very happy to see him back on the court. Made his debut after 357 days since he had ruptured his Achilles. Came back his first game, played 15 minutes. Did foul out in those 15 minutes, but put up 14 points, 6 rebounds, 3 assists. Was 3 of 4 from 3. Had a good game, and then his most recent game last night against the Lakers. I mean, it's weird because he's seamlessly fit in with the Warriors. Like, the chemistry he's already shown with Klay Thompson and Kevin Durant and Steph Curry. And, when Klay Thompson was going off last night, Demarcus Cousins was setting him up. Demarcus Cousins was setting the picks. He knew where to be. He's still, he's only playing about 16 minutes a game, so it's going to be a little different when he's out there for longer stretches. But this Warriors team with him it's going to be unstoppable. I can't picture anybody in the NBA beating the Warriors with DeMarcus Cousins healthy. I mean,
he is making the Warriors as dangerous as they've ever been.
More dangerous. More dangerous. I mean, you're a top 3 player. You're adding a top 5 to 7 player in the NBA to a roster that already is Steph Curry, Kevin Durant, Klay Thompson, and Draymond Green.
It's a pleasure to watch.
And he fits
like
perfect
him.
because he's a great passer from the post, from outside. It doesn't matter. He's got great vision for a big man.
Let's enjoy it while it lasts, so we know it ain't lasting long. So.
No, is this a 1 year thing? He's already said it. The Warriors have said it. It's a 1 year thing, and I'm okay with that.
Can they get the check? Who knows?
I mean that
Like it,
we'll have to wait to be seen on that front, but I think so. I mean, I think this is. I was gonna ask this. But I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory. I was gonna say, is this the greatest starting five ever? But it is, no question, hands down. You have 5 all NBA first or second team players on the same team that's starting. Like that's. I don't think we'll see anything to this extent again in terms of a starting 5 that's this good. I mean, you have a chance for every single one of these players to potentially go into the Hall of Fame. I mean, you figure Steph Curry and Kevin Durant definitely, and then Klay Thompson has a shot. Draymond has an outside shot, and then Boogie has a good shot. So I mean, this is something we've never seen before. We got hype, and we got to see those LeBron teams in Miami, whereas LeBron, Dwayne Wade, Ray Allen, and Chris Bosh. This blows that out of the water.
This team is incredible. The only team that can be better than this team would be a team made up of 3 Shaquille O'Neals, LaMelo, and Lil Bronny.
And if Jordan had a kid.
And if Jordan had a kid. Does he have a kid?
No, I don't think he does.
Anyway, Jordan's kid trying to live up to old age.
Yeah, see, that's you think LeBron's kid has high expectations? Imagine if you were Jordan's kid. What? Oh yeah, no, Jordan does have kids, because he had a son who played college ball.
Oh yeah.
And it was His name was Michael Jordan. Yeah, he obviously wasn't anywhere near the level of his father. But I mean, I haven't heard anything about him since. I think I did read something about how like he quit basketball because he was trying to live up to his father's, live in his father's shadow, or try to step out of his father's shadow, and it was too much for him.
Oh yeah, he became an actor. He was in Creed. That's what the C stands for.
Not Michael B. Jordan. No, not him.
Oh shit, that's what the B stands. I thought you were telling me something.
No. It's a different Michael Jordan.
That's crazy.
But that's.
You take the B out is Michael Jordan. That's his name. The other day I was thinking about it. I was like, yo, if you take the B out of Michael B. Jordan, his name is Michael B. Jordan. This is crazy. That's why he put the B in there.
Yeah, because he didn't want to be mistaken for Michael Jordan's son.
But his name is Michael Basketball Jordan.
Michael.
That's nuts, man.
Oh shit. Oh.
Yeah, but Demarcus Cousins, yo, it's great to have him on the Golden State Warriors. Shout out to Demarcus Cousins. Shout out to Clay. Shout out to Steph Curry. I know you're listening. Shout out to Kevin Durant, my man. I hope when I see you again, you give me that 20 that you owe me. Yo, shout out Draymond. Shout out everybody, yo.
Well,
Making me laugh out here, man. Yo, just chilling. You making me laugh out here. That's not funny, man.
I'm not shouting out no KD. KD's a bitch, and I stand by that. But shout out everybody else. But all right, that's enough of Demarcus Cousins and the
That's
Warriors.
That's another podcast.
Yeah.
We can talk about him and LeBron and who's the greatest in another podcast. But KD ain't no bitch. KD is. We're gonna talk about another podcast. I'm sorry.
Oh, before we get out of here, I want to talk a little bit about the Pacquiao Broner fight from Saturday.
Yeah.
First thoughts. What you got any thoughts? First thoughts on it?
I thought Pacquiao dominated the fight, and again, this weekend is just appreciation for the greats. And, Pacquiao has had a legendary career in boxing. His life story is incredible. Came up from a rice paddy to become the world champion, an 8-time world champion in 8 different weight classes, which is something we'll never see again. Pacquiao is a man who has represented his country, the Philippines, with the most nobility, respect, and honor, has shown the most courage, has shown people what it's like when you put yourself out there and do not care about the consequences because you are so passionate about your dream and what you want to become and whatever it is. And Pacquiao has shown is that's where he is so great at. And any Filipino that you talk to on the planet, you can test this theory. Any Filipino, shout out my Filipino, any Filipino knows Manny Pacquiao. That's incredible. Because of the career that he put together, the action he's given. And you have to tell him his career is sad to see. It makes me sad. I cry at night sometimes thinking about what it would be like when he is really blessed. But we're not there yet. So right now, I just want to keep enjoying what we're seeing. Adrian Broner was an easy target to me. He really isn't somebody who was going to present much danger because he doesn't throw many punches ever. Something about these big fights, he kind of freezes it up. So he's going to collect the check, and it sucks because he's so good and so talented. You never really get to see it. You get flashes of it throughout the fight, how fast his hands really are when he puts combos together, and where he lands his punches and how he moves, but he doesn't keep it consistent, and that's just the training. It's all obvious. He has all the tools. He just doesn't have the discipline outside the ring but at least he gets in the ring and he trains to get in there. So. And he makes sure that he gets out. So right now he's just a gatekeeper. And that's probably all he is, and I don't know where he goes from here. But anyway, it's just great to see Pacquiao with another win.
Well, there's a quote in one of your My Boxing Journeys that applies to Adrian Broner. It was from Marvelous Marvin Hagler, and it's hard to get up at 5 a.m. and do road work when you sleep in silk pajamas. That sums up Adrian Broner, because when Broner first came up and Broner was making a name for himself, he was a much better fighter than he is now. Now, like you had said, he doesn't throw punches. He's never been a huge punch thrower, but there were times in this fight where he landed 2 punches in a round, he landed 3 punches in another round, he threw 12 punches, he threw 10 punches, he landed 3 body shots over the duration of a fight compared to 47 for Pacquiao, but he landed 3 fucking body shots the entire fight. How do you expect to win a fight when it goes to the cards when you land 3 fucking body shots?
It's been sad to watch Adrian Broner's career because I really like him. You know when you gotta enjoy Adrian Broner? It's sad. And it's not sad because I still like him. I'll still pay for his next fight. He's still Adrian Broner. He hasn't been knocked out. So he goes, it's like, whatever, but you gotta go on YouTube and watch like his early fights to really understand how nasty he could have been. He was supposed to be.
Well, that's what I'm saying. And he was, watching him coming up when he was making a name for himself. He was a very good fighter. It's not that he's a bad fighter now. It's just that he's it's like he's afraid to get hit because he doesn't let his hands go.
He's like this generation's Zab Judah, except nowhere near as good as Zab Judah. Zab Judah is probably one of the greatest technicians of all time, but that's a conversation for another day. But that's who he reminds me.
I came away disappointed with him, and that's a good point. Zab was, like you said, a technician. Beautiful footwork. What was
beautiful footwork, southpaw. The way he was able to measure an opponent, his jab, that left hand, the straight left hand was beauty. He had a right hook that sometimes starts for southpaw to have a powerful right hook, but he had a great right hook. He had all the tools. He knocked Mayweather down, remember? Yeah,
and again, talking about momentum in that fight, what happened? The refs didn't rule the knockdown, and it took all the momentum away from him.
And like Broner, also didn't have the, I apologize, I'm just taking some medicine. Like Broner, if you hear me. Like Broner, he didn't have the, mental ability to control and have the discipline to control himself as a boxer. and that's why he lost, and that's what's happening to Broner. That's why I compare him to. Skill-wise, that dude was light years ahead, but it's comparable to him because there was so much talent. That dude did a little bit more with his talent, but.
And I would even go as far to say that Broner was more talented than Judah. Judah just worked harder and was more of a technician.
Nah, he bugging.
Talent-wise?
Talent-wise, Zab Judah is one of the best ever.
I love Zab Judah, but talent-wise, Zab Judah is not one of the best ever.
Yes, he is. He bugging.
Part of what made Zab Judah who Zab Judah is was his work ethic and how hard he worked and how much time he put into his craft. I don't see that from Broner. Broner relies more on his natural talent. And
Zab Judah relied on his natural talent, though. He didn't. His problem was that he stayed in the streets coming up. He brought videos.
well, yeah, because he trained at home. What was it, Brooklyn, right?
Shout out Brooklyn.
But when he trained where he grew up. He stayed in Brooklyn the whole time. He didn't leave Brooklyn.
Yeah. Or he went to Florida, man. Shout out Florida. Shout out Jacksonville. Shout out Pensacola. They would go down to Florida. Shout out Brooksville, yo.
Shout out Brooksville. Fuck out of here.
Yo. Shout out fucking Brooksville, man. Shout out Tampa Bay. Let's go down to the Bay, kid.
Now, do you agree with Broner at all in the sense that when he says he won that fight and everybody knows he won that fight, were you one of those people that know he won that fight?
Nah, remember I thought Pedraza was beating Lomachenko.
Yeah, that was some good.
I know. I realized I don't judge like most people in these boxing matches. I realized I judge the way you're supposed to. You guys don't know how to judge. So when I'm listening to you guys talking about judging, I'm just like, what the f-? But that's because you don't know how to judge. I just want to get that out there. To go on the boxing subject.
Okay, good one. I think the real problem is that most people just
why
they.
You gotta get embarrassed? Why can't you just let me do that? Let me joke a little bit.
Because we've been talking for an hour about nonsense now, and what I'm getting at is most people who, when they say that they score fights, they read and watch and listen to what they hear, and then that's it, and then they spew it back out. They can't formulate their own opinions. They don't know what they're looking at. They don't know about creating punching angles. They don't know about taking punching angles away. They don't understand the footwork. They don't understand the body work or the jab or controlling, ring control. A lot of just boxing casual fan, they don't understand that or they don't know that. So they're just spewing back what they hear and see. They'll see Letterman's scorecard or they'll see somebody's scorecard. Oh, well, yeah, I agree with that. And maybe I have one round different just to, make myself stand out or whatever. But I just think most people they can't formulate their own opinions because they may not truly understand boxing. But it also varies by person because, you may put more weight on body punches than somebody else. Somebody else might put more into jabs than power punches or whatever it may be. But everybody's going to have things that stand out to them more.
Yeah, no, I was just kidding. I think I don't judge very well. I judge it too technically.
Well, no, I agree with you, and I think a lot of people don't know how to judge, and I think they just kind of give back what they hear, or they see somebody throwing more punches, so that means that they're winning the round. You know what I mean? So I think you made a good point there, joking or not. I think you actually were onto something a bit there, and that a lot of people just rely on what they see and hear during the telecast.
That is true. That's a good point. The average fan doesn't understand that you said that the ring generalship, the fact that you're scoring defense. You're scoring body punches. You're scoring clean and effective punches. You're scoring effective aggression, which means, to break it down a little bit, before we get off and, before we have to get out of here, just so the fans know, judging a fight, there's real good criteria that you have to judge the fight by. Defense, which is how well the fighter is defending himself, obviously, flips, blocks, parries. I think you have ring generalship. Is he very important in generalship? Is he cutting off the ring? Is he controlling the center of the ring? If he wants to be on the ropes, is he backing up to the ropes and making the opponent come to him? You can see that. You can tell that. Usually it's the fighter you're looking at who's controlling the fight. That's a good sign for who has the best ring generalship. Sometimes you get hit a lot and going forward though, and that's where we go into the third category, which is effective aggression. Effective aggression means you're coming forward, you're not getting your ass beat as you're coming forward. You're throwing punches, you're being effective as you're being aggressive. And finally, last but not least, you have the third category, which is clean and effective punching, which is obvious. And self-explanatory, clean and effective punching. The punches that land straight on the face, on the body, they get through past the elbows. And there's a little split criteria that they should know. They're judging the fight that you should look out for. But a lot of times, the eyes don't deceive you. Like you said, a lot of it's personal preference. I like body shots. I like fighters that throw punches, like body shots. No sense. So, some guys like defense. Some guys like guys that sort through the ring. Some guys. Anyway, I gotta get out of here, man. I gotta run. I'm training for the New York City Marathon in November.
That's it. Get ready for Nick running the marathon in New York City. Real quick, this weekend, Keith Thurman makes his return this Saturday, the 27th, I believe it is. Or let me just double check the date for you. The 27th. No, 26th. Keith Thurman fights this Saturday against Josesito Lopez. 26th of January, his return to the ring after a 2-year layoff?
Yeah, 2-year layoff. Hopefully the Lopez is a tough comeback fight. He's a sturdy comeback fight. Hopefully the Lopez is 36-7. He's in a position where it's now or never. He has some big losses in his career. He has some big opportunities. He lost to Canelo. He did have an opportunity back in 2009, which is really what he put him on the map. But he beat and then undefeated Victor Ortiz. They haven't really had much of a chance.
I'll be paying attention to this fight pretty close. I'm gonna be curious to see how Keith Thurman looks. Is he back to what he was, or is he gonna be close to back to what he was? Are we gonna see him fight Sean Porter again for the title? Are we gonna get to see him fight Danny Garcia, whoever? Are we gonna get to see him fight a name? Pacquiao even. I think Pacquiao's fighting Mayweather. I think that's gonna be Mayweather's last fight.
I bet you people buy that fight. I'd buy it.
What, Mayweather Pacquiao?
Yeah.
Oh, people would definitely buy it, and because the first fight that happened was so many years ago that now I think people will, that's out of their minds, and they just saw Pacquiao fight Broner, and then they saw Mayweather beat up on that kickboxer in the first round or whatever. So I think people might actually buy it. I mean, I would get it. I would watch it.
It would be dope if they did Pacquiao versus Mayweather 2 on free TV, like a Super Bowl.
That would be dope. That would be dope.
We would have a Channel 5 on a Saturday. Yeah, PBC.
But they're not going to pass up on the chance to make that much money.
No, I know. It'd be cool to see it in a super movie theater. People would check that out. I've never done it, but.
Oh, that would be dope. That would be real dope. Why don't people do that? Why don't movie theaters do that? Like have like a watch party for like the Super Bowl or a big event. Everybody throws in $10 or whatever.
No, they do. You gotta go to fathomevents.com. Shout out fathomevents.com.
What was it?
FATHOMEVENTS. Fathomevents.com. Check it out. Shout them out. They'll hook you up. So
that's pretty dope.
The biggest games, the biggest movies, the movie theater, so.
I didn't know that was the thing. That's pretty dope.
You live in a world where everything is good. You know what I'm saying?
We live in a world where everything's been thought of already. But
No, everything is two double meaning. I'm saying you could do multiple things with one thing. Your phone, you can do 1,000 things with it. You should just be able to do one thing.
now you can text, you can go on the internet, you can video chat, do this, do that, do it all. Yeah. 21st century. But this Thursday, January 26th, Keith Thurmans return to the ring. Do you know if that's on Showtime?
Yes.
It is Showtime?
No, that's PBC. Channel 5, I believe.
Oh, awesome.
8 p.m. prime time.
All right, so this Saturday, January 26th, Keith Thurman, Josesito Lopez. Keith Thurman's return to the ring on either Fox or FS1, but I believe it is Fox. That's going to do it. That's the last topic we have for today, and we ran a little long, but appreciate you coming on, Nick. Always a pleasure chatting with you.
No, it's been a pleasure. I just hope you enjoyed the show. Anybody who's listening, I hope that in the state, Emily, forgive me for my I have a cold. I'm talking kind of crazy because I've been on 3 different kind of medications for the cold. So
I think the people care more about some center ring episodes instead of you have a cold or not, my G.
Yo, just go. Let's go. Center ring is supposed to pull like it's a taking care of. I just want y'all to know that center ring will be back with the next few episodes coming soon in 2000.
We'll see you guys in 2020 for Center Ring episode 5.
Yo, 2019 coming at you. It's gonna be a big year, 2019. So just stay tuned. Edit this part out. Just stop it. Edit this part out of the show.
That's it. Sometime in 2019, you can expect the next episode of Center Ring. But I've been your host, Millsy. We were joined by Mr. Nick Baez. Nick, appreciate you coming on.
Thank you. Y'all, I was happy to be on.
I've been your host, Millsy. Thanks for joining us. Peace.